welcome back to our channel, Natural State Rebels. Today we're exploring the city of Leadville here in Colorado, and it is a really historical town. I'm really excited about it because there is a lot of history here. And right now we're standing at the Historical Museum in Leadville, and this building right here behind me is, I guess it was considered what they call a crib. And basically this is where the women of the day seized opportunities that were given to them, because this was a hard survivalist area, and so in order to survive they did what they had to do. And so this is what they called a crib, and the women of ill repute, as I should say, would use these to make money.
This is the last one.
Yeah, oh yeah, this is the last remaining crib in Leadville. So this is a really interesting part of history.
I'll show you what it looks like on the inside if I can see here. Probably not, but...
Can you see it?
Well, you can see the sign there on the right.
Next to the bed?
What it says there.
And that is what you think it is, I guess.
Yeah. You can see right here in town, there's a mine. Yeah, it looks like it's all kind of closed in. An old sled.
Get some B-roll for you.
An old miner's cabin. Right there.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to go to the cemetery. I think it's called Evergreen Historical Cemetery. Oh, I'm excited about that.
This is the highest incorporated city elevation-wise in North America.
Yeah, I think the elevation is 10,152 feet, I do believe. Now there is a debate over that because there's a town called Alma in Colorado that they say they are the highest incorporated town.
It's a couple hundred feet higher, and they're on the other side of the mountains from here.
So I guess it all depends on what you consider a city or a town. One's the highest incorporated town and one's the highest incorporated city.
There's an ore car. Somebody put trash in it.
So this is the Carnegie Library.
Why you say it like that?
I don't know.
Library.
I don't know why I said it like that.
Susan likes the old dresses.
I love to see, look how ornate the hats were. I mean, back at this time period, women, and well, men too, they just dressed to the nines when they went out in public, you know.
I bet this is the oldest vacuum cleaner you've ever seen. Check this thing out. It's a hand pump vacuum cleaner used in some kind of a hotel there in 1890. Check that thing out.
It looks homemade.
That's crazy. So this was the largest ice sculpture ever created. There's sorry for the glare on the lights above, but this was in 1896, but it didn't last very long because they said they had a warm winter that year, so it melted. But this fort inside here, you can still go visit somewhere, but they built it like a castle of ice all the way around it at one time. This is a replica. Isn't that crazy? I would have loved to have seen something like that. It would have been amazing to see. This is where you keep the explosives. Yeah, it's too much of a glare, really, but it's pretty.
Where we are?
You tell them I already put a sign, but you can say it.
We're at the Matchless Mine here in Leadville, Colorado. This is where Horace Tabor and his second wife, Baby Doe, had their mine here, and that's where she actually ended up dying here in her cabin. We're going to go take a look at that.
So this Baby Doe, she passed away, but that's where she was standing in the picture. It's right here. Pretty interesting story. Riches to rags. She had paper on the walls for insulation, I guess, to keep the cold out.
Doe and Horace's second child.
Yeah.
Her full name was Rosemary Echo Silver Dollar Tabor. That was her name, Rosemary Echo Silver Dollar Tabor. That's crazy.
That is crazy. So this is where you went down in the mine, or how they pulled mine or ore in and out.
I guess this was the basket that people would stand in to go down. This is what they would do.
Yeah, that's where the people go down in and out the basket or on that thing.
This thing.
But yeah, here's the, of course it goes into darkness down there, but I'm not sure how deep it is.
Hello.
Or maybe somebody down there.
Echo.
Some pretty flowers. There's an ore cart.
So this is at the mine, and this right here is, this long piece of land right here is called a loadout. It's the waste that the miners would build up, and then they would lay track on top of the loadout, and then they would bring their carts that were driven by their donkeys or their mules, and they would pull them all the way out to the end on the railing, and then dump the ore into carts that were below.
There's the outhouse.
The door won't open all the way, but you can see it's just a one-seater.
One seater. I don't know who in the world would want two seaters, but people did it.
I've seen them. We're here at the Evergreen Cemetery in Leadville, Colorado. This is a historic cemetery. And this tombstone here that you're looking at in this in this cemetery is was the most costly grave put in here. It cost $1,500 in 1888. And so Frank Bauer was the mayor here in Leadville in 1888. And he and his wife were on their way to a celebration on the 4th of July. And somewhere in town, at one of the streets there, some fireworks were accidentally ignited and were sent off, and he got hit by what they call a skyrocket from the fireworks, and so he suffered, it fractured his leg. and he suffered major infection and wounds to his leg, and he died on the 16th of July, a few days later. He died from a blood clot in the brain. So we're here in the cemetery and we're trying to find a spot, apparently that took place somewhere right around here. We're not exactly sure because we haven't found a marker specifying the exact spot. But apparently there is a site here that some gallows were built and where 2 men were hanged. It was Frank Gilbert and Merrick Rosenkrantz, and they were each hanged for murder. And Frank Gilbert was convicted of murdering one of his employees, McCullum. And then the other guy, Rosenkrantz, was convicted of killing somebody named Langmeyer. And so anyway, they hanged them and they buried them in the same grave, but we can't find. We've looked around for a long time here and we can't find it. But it's somewhere in this vicinity. But
strangely, someone was actually executed in a cemetery.
Well, you know.
I mean, I guess that's real economical.
Dying to get in. Okay, that was cheesy.
Well, no, they were actually dying to get in. I wonder if that's that spot right there, because they probably don't have unmarked. They probably have unmarked graves. I think that they just piled up rocks for people like that. I don't think they really gave them a proper burial. But
so anyway, we haven't been able to find it. Wah, wah, wah.
But we thought that was just interesting. I wanted to show that to you because this is a very unique cemetery. Actually, there's some mounds right there around those trees and no headstone in there, so it may be right there where they're buried.
Could be. I mean, at the time that the gallows were built, there weren't any trees here.
Yeah, there's no trees here at all, so it was just a field. But that would make more sense because, you know.
I just figured they would have an actual plaque or a memorial or something, but.
No, not for murderers. They probably didn't care much about that.
This monument was erected here in the cemetery for the 10 people who were killed in an avalanche at the Homestake mine. And there's 10 people died, but you only see 8 graves because the other 2 bodies were actually sent back home to their respective families. And the only reason someone even discovered the avalanche was because people in town were wondering why the miners hadn't come back to town for a few days. So when they went to look for them at the mine, they found that the avalanche had covered all the buildings there and had killed all 10 of the people. And so they erected this monument here, which is solid bronze. They erected this monument here for the 10 victims that died. So we found the headstone of John Baker Omohundro, but he went by Texas Jack. And he was really good friends with Wild Bill Cody. And whenever Texas Jack died, Wild Bill Cody actually came and erected this monument to his friend. And Omohundro and Wild Bill Cody were the 2 co-founders of the Wild West show. So they're the ones who put on the show that all the people came to. And whenever Texas Jack died, Wild Bill Cody came and put on a show and then erected this monument for his friend. And also, he was in the Army. He actually fought for the Confederates.
Fellow rebel.
Yeah, he's a fellow rebel.
Different kind of rebel, I guess.
went to the Matchless Mine, and that was where Horace Tabor and his second wife, Baby Doe, lived. And so this house right here is where Horace Tabor and his first wife, Augusta, lived. And so we're going to go in and see this house. Here's the original thing they used to hook their horses up to at the front of the house. That is so cool.
And even though he could have afforded more, this is what she wanted.
She was the more practical one of the
well,
two.
She did all the books for him, and she would sew and she would feed the miners. And so she had her own little businesses. She had some boarding houses up this way. Now that piano is a grand piano. Usually they're black and long.
Yeah.
That'd be a square one.
So that's got to be, is that rare?
Yes. But see, that's how they got it up over the mountains in the wagons. They didn't have the train then.
So this couch is original, actually owned by Augusta Tabor, and she actually, you said Ulysses S. Grant sat on this couch.
Yes, with his wife.
Wow, that is awesome. What was his wife's name? Julia? Julia Grant?
Presidential expert.
I think his wife's name was Julia Grant,
Okay.
if I remember correctly. That is so cool.
So this would have been one of his offices, because you figure he had one at the, the hotels and stuff. And they had their mercantile prior to him becoming the Silver King. And so upstairs is where their son lived. He was in his 20s when they got here. He only had the one child. And then the fire department he started the first original fire brigade.
Oh, wow.
Their son did?
No, he did.
Oh, Mr. Tabor did.
Yeah.
Oh, really? That's cool.
And so the fire department did give us that. And they were made out of leather in those days.
Oh, the hats were?
Uh-huh. Just like,
Oh, cool.
underground hats were leather.
So this is an original piece of the house. It's an actual
Right.
Murphy bed that they actually used.
Mm-hmm.
That is so cool. I didn't know Murphy beds were that old.
I know we have some on our place in Idaho when it's cabin season, the guys that have to stay out, and we've built a shed for them.
So this building was the old phone company. Horace Tabor actually brought the phone to Leadville, and he owned this building, and they had women that worked in this building on all 3 levels, 24 hours a day.